I'm a printer. Hello, my name is Colin Frazer, and I am the printer here at the press at Colorado College. I'm a printer. So the press at Colorado College has been around for, it's 31 years. It started in the late 70s by Jim Trissel, who's a faculty member of the art department. And he died in the late 90s, and since then there hasn't been a ton of publishing activity here at the press. And so I've been working for the last few years to try to restore enthusiasm and student activity and publishing and poster making and all kinds of things here at the press. And it's been super exciting lately because last year we had a minor approved in book arts here at CC, and there aren't too many colleges, especially liberal arts colleges, that have functioning presses and book arts curriculum. And so it's super exciting for us to be a hub of that sort of stuff in this area. So students can take classes in anything from printmaking to paper making to book making and anywhere in between. And we also do a bunch of other things here. We publish fine press books, which are all made by hand in limited edition and sold to special collections, libraries, and private collectors. They're pretty expensive items because they're very fancy and nice and beautiful objects. And so in the spirit of sort of the democracy of print, we try to do some stuff that is cheap and ephemeral. So we do a bunch of poster making for events here on campus, and I make posters for rock bands, and all done by hand. So imagery is generally cut in linoleum or wood blocks by hand with carving tools, and type is set by hand, and each color is printed one at a time here on our 1960s vintage presses, which are Vandercook proof presses. And they're super awesome machines, built to last a long time. I did just have a motor go out that had lasted 50 years. Motor lasting 50 years is not something you find very often these days. I can't replace it, actually. I have to figure out some other way to deal with it because they don't make motors that nice anymore. Yeah, we have 500 cases of lead type here, all representing different styles of different font families. So the latest book that we published here at the press was a book of photographs by a well-known photographer named Stuart Clipper, who became famous for his photographs, his long landscape photographs of Antarctica. And he has been traveling down the Mississippi from his home in Minnesota to New Orleans for the last 30 years because he's interested in Zydeco dancing. And so he approached me with a project. He was a friend of the press and had done a book here in the early 90s with Jim Trissel, who started the place. So we did a book of photographs of his from New Orleans pre-Katrina. So it was sort of not like a documentation of the disaster stuff. It was more of a celebration of the city's culture and history before the hurricane in 2005. So it's 27 photographs. Some of them fold out to be 31 inches wide by 10 inches high. And there's also text that's letterpress printed by New Orleans authors who are responding to the times and places and spirit of the photographs. And that was all printed. The photographs were printed here at the press, and the text was printed here at the press. And it was bound by hand by a member of our campus community named Pamela Lutz. And I built some boxes with the help of Andy Tirado over in the woodshop. We are building boxes out of New Orleans salvaged heart pine weatherboards from the houses down there. So I got a freight load of wood, salvaged wood from down there, and we're building slipcases that the books live in. And those book projects generate revenue to help fund the press. So this summer we moved out of the basement of a residence hall across campus. We had the opportunity to move into a new space, which is a better home for us. The basement was prone to flooding and was a little bit dank, and it was just a space that was adapted to use as a press. And we were given the opportunity to create a beautiful space around the idea of teaching about the book and printing. So we have a new space over in Taylor Theater next to Bemis Hall, and our presses are set up. They had to shore up the floor for all the weight. I think the mover said they think they moved 186,000 pounds of material out of that basement. Luckily, I didn't have to do it all myself. They dragged this 4,000-pound press upstairs, and it was monstrous endeavor. But we're over here now, and we're getting set up, and we're having an open house tonight from 6 to 7 over here at the press, and it's going to be right before a talk about the history of the press by Betty Bright, which is going to be at 7 in the Cornerstone screening room here on campus. And yeah, we're just gonna get together, show off the new space. Anybody who hasn't seen a letterpress printing facility before can dig through the type and check things out. And we're just gonna be hanging out and showing off the work here too. So excited about it.
Thanks, Colin.
I'm a printer.